Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Envision Weekly Live webinars. My name is Burju, VP of Customer Success here at Canvas GFX. I'll be guiding you through today's session. These interactive sessions will guide you through the key tools and workflows available in our Canvas Envision portal as well as in the Creator. And my goal is to enable you to create and manage digital work instructions more efficiently and seamlessly. Let's jump into today's agenda. Today's session will focus on user login and secure access to the Envision portal, covering how to log in, manage user privileges, and follow best practices for data security and public sharing. We will spend the first 20 minutes with a live demo of key features, and I will reserve the last 10 minutes for any questions or feedback for our sessions in real time. So feel free to drop your questions into the chat at any time. Before we get started, I would like to remind you that this is just one of our Envision Weekly Live webinar series. We'll be here every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, covering new topics each week to help you get the most out of your trial experience with Canvas Envision. All right, let's jump into today's session. For those are brand new to the Canvas Envision platform, let me give you a quick overview of the application that we provide for our customers to create step-by-step instructions. Envision platform is an instructional authoring environment that enables our customers to efficiently create digital instructions. The Envision platform includes a web browser-based creator application with an intuitive UI that simplifies the authoring process for the technical creators as well as the engineers. And our customers can also take advantage of our SDKs and APIs to embed the creator application into the systems such as PLM, MES, and learning management systems. In the case of PLM integrations, the CAD data can directly be imported from the single source of truth, and the creator is notified if there is any engineering changes of the models throughout the creation process. And our platform also includes an easy-to-manage document management portal with admin settings, user privileges, document permissions, review, and sharing features. Like the creator application, this portal can be embedded to other systems, allowing our users or our customers' users to access documentation from widely used systems like MES, QMS, or ERP. Documents can be viewed during or after creation in a browser for an interactive consumption experience, featuring customizable dialog prompts, intuitive and interactive 3D models, animations, and layer actions that gives the consumers the ability to pick and choose the data types or the visual types that they want to see and learn the instructions in the documentation. The Weaver application can also be embedded into various digital threads in an organization. We provide for our customers a SaaS solution through AWS or Azure Cloud Services. Both environments are available for our customers, both as a private cloud as well as the government cloud. And alternatively, we can also host Envision on our customers' private cloud or on their on-premise infrastructure. Okay, so let's dive into a live demo for today's session. As I mentioned, we will cover, let me just go ahead and go to my second slide over here. Perfect. Sorry, second browser over here. So as I mentioned, to log into the Canvas Envision environment, we have a URL that our customers can get access to the portal. It's called app.canvasenvision.com, and that will direct them to the platform environment to log in with their workspace name. When we provision our customers, when they adapt to our application, we provision a workspace name as well as the admin login information. And this is the first stage that our customers can log into. And then once the admin creates and adds the users, which we will go through the process in this webinar, they can kind of do the same workflow, putting their workspace as well as their username and password to get access to the portal application. So here I will put the workspace that I'm working. Workspaces, you can imagine them as like your light databases that you store the documentation that you create using Canvas Envision application as a saving environment, saving path, and the end users or simply the other team members can collaborate, review, and publish this documentation through our portal environment. It is, as I said, it's a very lightweight data management tool. We do have permissions and document level, folder level permissions that our customers, our admins can give it to the creators to get access to. So I'm just going to put the workspace name in here, which in this case is called webinars. And the next step is putting your username and the password. And as you guys can see here, I logged in as myself. And this is the first UI that you will be seeing when you log into the Canvas Envision portal. We have 4 types of users in Canvas Envision platform. First 3 user privileges that I'm going to mention, they do have direct access to Canvas Envision platform, and they can simply log in and with different stages of privileges, they can do different things in the portal environment. The last user type that we usually tell our customers are simply anonymous viewers. These viewers, they don't even know the documentation has been created in Canvas Envision platform or the way that it has been created. All they have a link to this documentation, and they can have that interactive and intuitive experience to be able to access the 3D models and access the animations or any type of visuals that we have in this documentation created. The first 3 types of user privileges or user types that we have are admins, which are, as you can imagine, they are the admins of the database to have different privileges to create work centers and invite users and design team members, we call them user groups inside of our Canvas Envision platform to assign those specific work centers to get access to it. The second user type is the creators. Creators are basically the technical writers, the engineers that are creating the content. They do have privileges to get access to the centers, every center in the workspace, and they can see the content. They can simply create as many content in those specific workspaces that they're working on, that they have access to, and simply work on those documentation between the portal as well as the creator apps. The consumer privileges that we have in our portal, in our platform, they are basically the user types that they have only access to those workspaces they're entitled to. They don't see any other workspaces. If they are not entitled to see public work centers, which we'll go through what they mean, they will not be able to see the documentation in those centers. So only the centers that they have access to see the documentation, they can see the information. So let me tell you more in detail for each user type. I'm going to log into the portal app as all these different types of user privileges, and I will show you what they see and how they experience the Canvas Envision Portal UI and environment to get access to the documentation or simply create documentation from the portal. So as I said, app.canvasenvision.com, this is my entry point. I put the workspace name, which in my case is webinars. Obviously, our customers have their own workspaces. And then, as you can see, my second location in here, the further location in here, my centers. The first UI that when you log into the Canvas Envision portal, you will see the webinar centers. These are, you can think these as folders inside of your database environment. Like if you have any directory in your computers, you have subfolders and folders. And it's the same thing. These hard drive looking centers are folders in your workspace, which we call them work centers. So as you can see, we have two types of centers in here. One of them is as default, which are called work centers. They are internal work centers that a user, when they log into the Creator or the Portal app, as soon as they click on create a documentation, that document goes into that default work center that is already in the Portal environment. The one that is at the top you see in here, this is alphabetical. That's why the webinar public is at the top than the work center. Webinar public is a public center. If the documentation is being saved into that environment, it could be shared with those viewers. As if you remember, I mentioned in the beginning of the webinar, those viewers, they don't even need to know that this documentation has been saved into those environments or the documentation has been created in the Canvas Envision platform. But from that center, you can create permanent links, which we call them also anonymous links, which these can be dynamic links that the end user, the viewers, can see the documentation and get access to that intuitive experience of an EV doc that the creators work on. So the first UI we see, we call webinar, in my case, webinar centers. If this is ABC company, ABC Work Center is going to be ABC centers. It's basically the list of the work centers that we have in here. So you can ask this question, who creates these work centers? That is being created by the admins of these workspace. The only person that create work centers or public centers are the admins. So as I mentioned, I logged in this first step of our webinar as an admin, and in the UI you will see a little key icon over here. And if I move my mouse over it, you will see it will say admin area. If you see a key icon when you log into Portal, it means that you're an admin of that workspace. So if I click on that environment, this is what we're going to see. The first point of environment that we see is the centers. And if I click in here, I can actually create further more centers in this workspace environment. So we have use cases around creating our customers creating work centers in terms of the people that creates the content, and or it could be the project that they're working on, different work centers for different projects, different product lines, different prototypes that they're working, different designs that they're working, or in some cases they create work centers for templates separately than the working documents or review documents. So depending on how the organization works, this creation of center could be customized based on our customers' needs. The only thing that I'm going to go through in here, which we will cover in another session, is creating a work center in here. The type is going to be work center, and you could tell me, how do I do a public center? Once you select the type as work, if you go scroll down over here, you will have an option to make this work center is public. In that case, the work center that we create will be your working environment. And as soon as you create a public work center, that will be your environment that you publish the documentation. It's peer reviewed, it's published, it's ready to roll out to the anonymous viewers or anyone else that needs this documentation, that they don't even have login information, login access to the Canvas Envision platform. Cool. So from the admin area, other things that we could do, again, we can create work centers. The important thing in here also for admins that they have access to, if I click on the members, they can actually manage the members of the workspace. So you can see in this case, I have 4 users in this workspace, and I can invite as many users, obviously, as I provision this platform. And I have abilities to deactivate the members and as well as invite further users and create teams. So the teams, the way that Envision privileges or Envision documentation privileges work, and not on the document level. It's on the folder or in the workspace level that we can give different teams different accesses to work centers that they can retrieve the documentation from. So, for example, we have a production line documentation only the production engineers can get access to. So in that case, we invite those team members, production engineers to our for our portal as consumers, as creators, depending on what they need to do in the platform. And then we assign them to that specific workspace only to those documentation that they need to get access to. They won't be able to see any other centers or any other documentation that they are not entitled to see. So in Envision, privileges on the documents are on the workspace level that you have. You can define them as, for the users as the teams, and those teams will be assigned to different workspaces to get access to different documentation. And that's all about the privileges of admins. Creators or consumers, they do not have these privileges. Only the admins of the workspaces they can do as create the teams as well as assign those teams to a specific workspace to get access to those defined documentation in those workspaces. The other cool things that admins can do under the development tools, we have some SDKs, Consume SDK, Connect SDK, we create SDK. We'll go through this in another session. In a nutshell, these are basic APIs that you could use our platform to customize based on your workflows. For example, you have a documentation that needs to have a QC inspection list that you need to have the end users to confirm each QC inspection list when they finish that specific step that they're working on. In that case, we can use, for example, EV Consume SDK to be able to customize that workflow. And every time they finish a step, they can confirm, and that confirm that can go to another system if you have in the organization that you wanted to get that information from, for example, as a QMS, the quality management system, that you want to verify those workers actually they finalize those steps before they go into the next line of work that they work on. Cool. So that's the admin privileges admin area that we can that we work on. And anytime if you're in the environment like myself in here that you're seeing things that are not really looking like the way that you were looking or you were seeing when you log into the portal in the first place, you can refer to the left corner logo, Canvas Envision logo. It will take you to the first UI when you log into the portal environment, and that will take you kind of back to the default view of Canvas Envision portal view. So let's jump into the creator. So here I log in as a creator user, and this is what I see. Again, as a creator, I don't have that key icon for the admin area, but I do have access to only the work centers that I am a part of teams that I can see. In this case, I see the both work centers in this workspace. But again, the creators doesn't mean that they will see all the work centers. They only see the work centers that they are entitled to if the admins design that kind of infrastructure for the creators and the consumers. So if I click on the work center, I will see all the files in here. And if I go back, I will see the public work center in this case that I can click on the documentation as a creator. One thing that I want to mention that is pretty much the same, this icon over here called notifications. So let's talk about notifications a little bit. Notifications, as you know, Canvas Envision is also a collaboration platform. When you're working on a documentation as a creator, you can share that documentation with your peers for peer reviews. And we have an ability to take that documentation from draft, which is your working document, to a review status, which we'll cover this in another webinar. From that review status, you can share that documentation with your peers to be able to collaborate on, get their feedback. You can tag someone on a specific page that they can say, this image doesn't make sense, this textual data doesn't give the end user information that they need. So you can comment on the documentation. Since it's an environment that is collaborative, and you can be involved in this environment to get notifications every time there's an activity on that document. And if you want to kind of change the settings in terms of what you need to do in those notifications, you click on this little bell icon over here, and you can see I have kind of the history of what happened with this documentation. Burcu has an unpublished document. You have a permanent link pointing this file. So it kind of gives you a summary of what has been done on that environment. But if you further click on this settings environment, you can actually turn off some of these notifications if it is too overwhelming. If you can imagine, if a documentation has been around for a couple of months, the notifications can be overwhelming. What I would suggest, either create a separate folder in your Outlook to send those notifications and only look at them as needed, or turn off some of these notifications if they don't really involve you. For example, if someone adds you as a viewer, obviously it's important, but if this file set is changed to publish, maybe you were just a viewer, you don't need to be there to be able to get the notifications off. So let's jump into the consumers. Here I logged in as consumer, and as a consumer, I only see the centers that I have access to. I don't see the public center in this case, and I see the work center that I'm only allowed to see the documentation that in that center that I have access to. And you can see we also have the notification area in here. And again, the thing's a little bit more limited because you're only the consumer. You're not in the review process. You're only involved after the publish status of a documentation. But again, you can turn off that setting if it is too much as a notification that is coming to your Outlook environment that is, creating clutter. Just a quick recap. Canvas Envision Portal, log into app.canvasenvision.com, and inside of that environment, let's go here, click on this corner so you can see the work centers that I can see as an admin. We do the first point of view that when we log into the portal app is the webinar centers, work centers, and on the right-hand side, depending on your privileges, this UI might change. If you're an admin, you will see an admin area key icon. Notification will be there for all 3 types of users, but with different settings that you only have access to. And if I go to this little arrow over here, you can see further information. That settings is also over here, which is the notification settings, kind of duplicate in this UI. But you can also see your account information, which is basically your first name and last name in here under this little arrow in this UI. And that's for the admins, creators, and consumers. Let's talk about the viewers just for a minute. Viewers basically will have access to the link of the documentation. And I have an example here. For example, this is a documentation that we create link. And if I click on the chicken viewer, this will be their experience. They will have a URL of that document, the link of that documentation. They could see on the left-hand side the pagination and how they see the documentation in terms of the fit to screen, and as well as the page navigator. They can skip through the pages to see the information in here. Again, 3D data will be intuitive and interactive. Layers will be clickable. They can see different types of data when they need to. And they will have that experience as an end viewer. Again, they don't need to log in. All they need is the link of the documentation that is being created from the public centers, because that's the only way out of that work center that our customers are working. And those public centers can only be created by the admins of the workspaces. Awesome. So that wraps up our session for today. I'm just going to jump on this last section over here. Hope you guys found this session, helpful. We basically work through the navigation of user Envision Portal and the user privileges. Thank you for joining, and just don't forget, this is just one of the webinars that we provide every Wednesday. Next week, we'll be working on organizing and managing files, folders, and notifications. We will dive in more in details in terms of the file status and how to share a public documentation with those that are anonymous viewers that we talked. And we will work on how to manage folders that we create in the workspaces to further define maybe product lines or maybe processes that our creators are working on. And we will also work through the custom notifications that you could send it to the other team members to be able to review the documentation and tag someone to see what they need to change or adjust in modifying the documentation that they work on as well. So and that it is on November 27 at 2 p.m. Eastern. Thanks again for your time and look forward to seeing you in our next webinar. Have a great day.